Hi, I'm Josh, 3D modeler, artist, programmer. Got into science since I was 12. Not only did I just dabble in it, but I kind of did study some of the math and stuff that goes along with some physics and stuff, including quantum mechanics. So I have a thing to reveal, and this is this thing. So first of all, I know that it is very controversial to debate against established science, but I'm doing it anyways because I think it's wrong. In other words, this is what I'm going to say. Einstein did a thought experiment, not an actual experiment, a thought experiment about the speed of light. And his thought experiment went like this. If an object is traveling a direction and going the speed of light, 186,000 miles per second, which was experimented on and established that the speed of light was 186,000 miles per second, then an object going the opposite direction, the speed of light, would be going half that speed, and the object actually traveling the speed of light would be going half that speed. He did not test this, and it doesn't seem correct because if an object such as a photon is traveling to the Earth 186,000 miles per second, that takes about 8 minutes to get to the Earth. Alright, so, but the problem is the sun has millions upon millions of photons. And according to his thought experiment, all these photons should be relative to each other. So, not only is there a photon on the opposite side of the sun going the opposite direction, that would mean that it's actually, I'm sorry, it's actually 16 minutes to get to the Earth. Because the speed of light is actually half the speed now, because there's an object going the opposite direction at max speed. But there's another problem with that, because there is another photon going another direction, and there are millions of them all the way around the sun, going in far different directions, and direction is also relative, and thus this object oops, going towards the Earth takes millions upon millions of years to get to the Earth. Because, because of this thought experiment. No, that's ridiculous. It does not take 16 minutes for light to get to the Earth. It takes 8. Um, and that's practical because the speed of light is 186,000 miles per second. The Earth is 93 million miles away from the Sun. Thus, when an object is traveling the speed of light, relative to the Sun, and another object is traveling the speed of light, relative to the Sun, and they are both going 186,000 miles per second, now, relative to each other, one is going twice the speed of light. That's basic fucking conclusion. Relative to each other, speed is relative. One is going twice the speed of light. It's a basic conclusion. Basic science, basic logic would tell you one was going faster than the speed of light. But we gotta have a speed limit in the universe, see, because we're people and we can't handle that type of well, it broke the law of the speed of light. We can't handle that. Somebody's going to say, well, can we prove that it goes faster than the speed of light? And I would say, can we prove that we can go faster than the speed of light, I would say we need to do an experiment to prove that we can. Before we say that that's the top speed in the universe, before we say that, well, mass is going to grow some fucking how magically instead of going faster than the speed of light, and before we say, well, the explanation for galaxies traveling faster than the speed of light is expansion theory, because galaxies are traveling faster than the speed of light. The conclusion might be expansion theory, but that doesn't mean that they're not traveling faster than the speed of light. They actually fucking are. Traveling faster than the speed of light, multiple times faster than the speed of light, and thus that proves that there is no fucking speed limit to the universe. That just proves that light has a max speed. Not everything, just light in general, and light only relative to the origin, not relative to anything else. So there's no conclusion that has to say logically that the max speed of the universe is 186,000 miles per second. In fact, the experiment just proves that light travels at 186,000 miles per second. There's no reason why an object couldn't go faster than light. There's no, except for assumptions, without equipment, without invention, without testing, except for assumptions, scientists have fell off the fucking bandwagon. Scientists have decided that there must be this fucking law that exists in the universe for no apparent fucking reason other than light travels the speed of light. Other than light travels 186,000 miles per second, when clearly an object going one direction relative to another going the opposite direction would put those objects relative to each other going twice the speed of light. When clearly a galaxy which has nothing to do with us, not relative to our gravity at all, not relative, because relativity was based on gravity, going faster than the speed of light, we need expansion theory, which is fine. We do need expansion theory. But we also have to understand that it's entirely possible that that galaxy is simply just going faster than the speed of light. And the reason why we can see the galaxy that is being observed to go faster than the speed of light, the reason why we can see it is very simple. It's very elementary. It's because the light particles coming off of that galaxy, after they escape the galaxy, any gravity in the galaxy, anything that would hold the light down, could possibly be going faster than 186,000 miles per second. Why not? Because, as far as I understand it, the experiment took place on Earth. Gravity is everywhere on Earth, and it took place with a laser. Doesn't matter if you had a vacuum because there's still magnetic and gravity waves. You can probably get rid of the magnetic waves, but you're never going to get rid of the gravity waves if you do the experiment on Earth. Thus, it was done with light under the forces of gravity. If you did it in space, it would still be under the forces of gravity. And so, it's a practical experiment that you could not apply to the entire universe because the entire universe as a whole does not have fucking gravity. In fact, most of it doesn't. Most of it does not. And thus, that's also another thing to conclude, is that the speed of light is only 186,000 miles per second when under the pressures of gravity. And the reason why I would suggest it could be more outside of gravity is because gravitational waves go the speed of fucking light. And so that makes perfect sense. If gravity has a speed limit, then light under the pressures of that gravity has a speed limit. When an object's released from gravity, it is free from being relative to anything. And that's why its speed is, I don't want to say it's irrelevant, but it's not relative to another object. We can observe it going faster because it's not necessarily relative to us in a gravitational sense. Einstein's theory of relativity should not be based on the observer, but rather based on gravity. Not necessarily based on space, but based on gravity. That's the original intent of relativity.